Hello everyone, Helen here, and I'm chatting to you on the 17th of December. Well, for you it could be the 17th of December if you're watching this on the day that it goes out. But as I said to you yesterday, I'm actually away in the camper van and I can't upload videos in the usual way because I'll not really be anywhere with good enough internet, and also I don't do the editing on my phone. So so I couldn't do it while I was away, but I thought I would have a little chat in advance just so that I could say hello to you and you wouldn't miss out on a day. I'm just going to be very brief today really, but I did want to tell you about a couple of other Christmas decorations that I've got, which I kind of alluded to when I was chatting a few days ago about the German Christmas pyramid. And these decorations are known as Räuchermänner, or smoking men, and they've been made for hundreds of years in Germany, like the pyramids. I think the first of these smoking men were made in the late 1600s, and they're all figures of just normal people carved in wood, farmers, shepherds, miners, carpenters, and originally they were just carved in one piece of wood, and then on a little plinth beside them there would be a place for an incense, a little block of incense that you could light and put a nice smell into your home. And when it got to the late 1700s, they actually started making these out in two pieces so that you could lift off the top half of the body and on the little platform there place an incense cone which you could light, and then put the top half of the body back on, and then it would look as if the figure was either smoking through a pipe. I think some of the early ones had a pipe, but these days I think, maybe in a time when we're trying to encourage fewer people to smoke, that they just have a hole in their face and it looks like they're out in the cold air, and they've got sort of a breath that looks like it's cold weather. My smoking man, which my friend Eva gave to me many years ago, actually he looks like he's got a hole in his mouth, but actually the hole's around the back of his head at the back. But it still looks like he's in cold weather when the incense is burning. And when I was in Germany visiting the Christmas markets a few years ago and bought the Christmas pyramid, I also treated myself to another of these genre of smoking men, although mine is not a man. This time it was a little girl all dressed up in her winter woolies, with her skis by her side and holding a mug of hot chocolate, so that when you light the cone and the smoke starts coming through, it looks like she's got a steaming mug of cocoa, hot chocolate in her hand, and I think that's really lovely. So I'm just going to read something else for you today from the 1901 Girls' Realm Annual. This time it's about somebody's visit to a toy factory, and it's really interesting. It's interesting not only to know what kind of things children of, I would say, wealthy families would have to play with or have as gifts for Christmas time. It was also a very interesting article to read because although a little bit disturbing, because there's quite a lot of what we would consider to be racism in it. It was not thought that way in those days, 1901. And so when I read it, I have to not take offence at it but obviously, I've got the perspective of today when, we have to be a little bit more thoughtful about the way we describe things. Anyway, I haven't included those bits because I really thought it might be a little bit offensive to lots of you who are listening to it. But I hope you enjoy that article anyway. So that's going to be me for today, and until I see you again, keep yourself nice and busy and not too busy, Take great care of yourself. I will be back again tomorrow. Okay then, bye. Today I'm going to read some excerpts from the Girls' Realm Annual 1901. A Visit to Toyland at Christmas. Childhood is by no means the only age of toys. In fact, toys as now given to us are much more often appreciated by the grown-ups than by the young people for whom they are invented. A child will continually turn from a magnificent doll with jointed arms and legs and clothes that take off and are so beautifully made as to be suitable for a real baby, to some poor, homely, battered thing whose eyes have long since disappeared, whose raiment has been torn and blackened, whose legs are things of the past, and whose arms are torn beyond recognition. But to the younger of my readers, a new doll is still a delight, opening out all sorts of fresh ideas for underlinen and frocks, for beds and bassinets, and affording occupation during the whole of the winter months, in the cutting out and the stitching the newcomer necessitates. For some girls, quite past the doll stage, mechanical toys have still a great fascination. In this, they share their taste with many a greybeard of our acquaintance. Such girls as these would enjoy a visit to Messrs. Frankel Brothers, Houndsditch, where can be seen all the newest toys of this description, laid out in boxes innumerable, ready packed to be dispatched to all parts of the world for Christmas, the time above all others when toys have their day. Houndsditch is indeed the very centre, the very metropolis of the toy world. On all sides the windows are gay with dolls of all descriptions, from the tall guardsman to the smallest baby, with wooden carts and perambulators, with tin soldiers and mechanical dogs and cats, with balloons and masks and balls, with wooden rabbits and india-rubber pigs, with every toy indeed that man, woman or child can possibly desire. The day I went to Houndsditch, I longed for a child to enjoy this earthly paradise, to see her eyes glisten as she scrutinized each doll, each gruesome mask. But as I was alone, I had to content myself with inspecting the mechanical toys and appreciating their cleverness. There were boxes upon boxes of every variety man has invented, or I should say, of every novelty that man has lately invented. For there is a fashion in toys as in everything else, and the toy that reigns today will be left alone and neglected tomorrow. So year by year new toys have to be produced, and for this men of ingenuity are continually thinking out new ideas and bringing them to perfection, so that the insatiable appetite for the novel may be satisfied. Leaving mechanical toys, leaden soldiers and generals' masks, I was next taken into Messrs. Frankel Brothers' doll department. There indeed was a sight. Dolls of all sizes and all descriptions lay before me. But the surprise of them all was a doll equal in size to a child of 5 years old, most beautifully made and jointed, with flaxen curls and large brown eyes, worthy indeed to be considered a beauty in Toyland. There was also a beautifully dressed doll perched on a musical box, smoking a cigarette, a real cigarette, in the most fascinating manner. She put it to her lips, took a gentle whiff, and then blew the smoke out in the most dainty fashion possible. There was also a clever conjurer, who made his head disappear into a box and return again to his shoulders, backwards and forwards. These last, of course, were really mechanical toys on a large scale, and made to amuse everyone still in the toy age, be he 6 or be he 60. Most of the common dolls come from Germany, where they are made by the peasants of the Black Forest, at Fürth, and in other districts. Some of them make the legs and arms, some the faces, whilst the eyes again are quite a separate industry. When prepared, these various parts of the doll are brought to a factory in the neighbourhood, where they are put together, and the hair, and the necessary finishing touches given to them. The beautiful fair hair we see on some of these dolls is not hair at all, but hemp so prepared as to look silky and fluffy, or the wool taken from the Angora goat. The dark dolls are the only ones that have real human hair, and these are in great demand by missionaries in the East, where, for some reason or other, a fair doll will not be looked upon with any favour, whereas black hair and dark eyes gain the affections of the children of China and India at once. Most of the cheap dolls, indeed I may say all the cheaper dolls, come from Germany, but the beautiful baby dolls are English made, whilst perhaps the finest of all, those that have joints almost resembling our own, come from Paris or Vienna. Some of the most beautiful English dolls I have seen this year come from Hamleys, the great toy shop in Regent Street. Many of them are made with the prettiest baby face, so pink and white, and have much more expression than have the ordinary dolls we meet with. These were dressed in the finest robes, all made by hand, whilst their long mantles of white cashmere were beautifully embroidered in silk and trimmed with lace. Then, as is natural when hospital nurses have been so much to the front this year, there were dolls dressed in the various uniforms of all our great hospitals. There was a Devonport nurse in fawn and red, one from St Mary's, Paddington, in blue, another from the Edinburgh Infirmary in dark blue with a white apron, and, of course, many army nurses in the grey uniforms worn at Netley and at other military hospitals.